Welcome to Sib Spot. Today's Reddit stories are from IDon'tWorkHereLady. Story 1 is by Beef Dagger Alpha. How much more obvious can it be? I used to own a skeleton hoodie. I loved it. You could zip the hood right up over your head and it turned into a skull mask. Not really attire a 30-something-year-old man should wear in public, and my girlfriend hated it, but I loved it. Anyway, I was walking through Kohl's one afternoon with my jumper on and my basket and my little list, and this older guy comes straight up to me like, "Where's the oats?" I actually looked down at my jumper to check to see if I was still wearing it, because who would mistake an idiot wearing a skeleton hoodie for a staff member? "I don't know," I shrugged at him. "Don't you work here?" he asks me with tone all through his voice. I was speechless. I actually stepped back and glanced down at my jumper again to make sure I really definitely looked absolutely nothing like a Kohl's staff member. I did not. I stared at him for a long moment, uncertain how to respond. He just kinda huffed at me and stormed off, and to this day I'm baffled as to what he saw when he looked at me. Could have been a casual Friday or something. I don't know why else he would assume you worked there if you were wearing a skeleton hoodie. Maybe he just had a bone to pick with you. Our next story is by Takes It Wrong. Berated for reading cereal boxes. Helpful background. I have a social anxiety disorder which used to be completely debilitating, but now, after a lot of hard work, is fairly well managed. I navigate normal routine social interactions in small doses with minimal anxiety, and most always have a friend or family with me in public for moral support and to intervene if I get overwhelmed by something. Hubby is great and has helped me a lot to become more functional. Something relevant to this story is that he's 6'4" and what I call work fit. He doesn't go to the gym, he's not buff like that, but he's not scrawny either, because he works hard running a construction crew, working right alongside the guys. He's a calm, steady presence and never gets upset. The incident. Hubby and I went to the Wally Mart to grab some quick groceries. I wanted to select a different cereal for a change, and the ones I was interested in were on the bottom shelf or two. So, I squatted down next to our handbasket and began the process of reading ingredients and comparing my options. Grabbing a box and reading some, grabbing another, reading, put one back, try another, etc. I felt happy doing this, so hubby went a few aisles over to grab some PB&J. Enter Male Karen, MK. MK arrives and asks where some kind of sandwich spread is that I've never even heard of. I'm now focused on reading the cereal ingredients, so I don't even look up and I just say, "I don't know." MK. Well, get up off your butt and help me find it or get someone who can. You're not really doing anything, just rearranging boxes trying to look busy. You're not fooling me. Me looking up shocked into a reddish, belligerent face looming over me with a finger pointing at nothing in particular. I shut down. I can't do anything but shake my head no and try to sink lower to the floor. I look back down at the box in my hand and my hair falls around my head, partly shielding me from my surroundings. MK pushes my basket away from me to the middle of the aisle with his foot and begins berating me and all the lazy good-for-nothing workers of his imagination for not rushing to his service. I kind of fade out and only really perceive his tone and insistent threatening presence at this point. Enter hubby. I am brought back to reality by the familiar presence of hubby as he plants one foot at my side between me and MK, the other just at my back, and one hand gently on my head. Then he utters only 4 words in a tone I've never heard him use before, a couple notches lower than his usually quiet manner, each word spaced out like it was its own sentence. You will leave now. I felt a danger chill go down my spine. Silence. I look up through my hair to see red face has gone completely pale, eyes wide, mouth silently opening and closing like a fish chasing an elusive, invisible morsel. Suddenly, MK turns and half walks, half jogs around the corner to the front of the store with an odd shuffling gait, his head tucked towards his shoulders as though imitating a turtle. Hubby helps me up and makes sure I'm okay. I decide I needed to go home, so we head quickly to the exit. MK is nowhere to be seen. Guess he didn't need the sandwich stuff so badly after all. Anxiety is a really stubborn ailment to get over. I'm glad that you found some way to kind of combat it, but it sucks that somebody had to bring it back to you just by putting themselves in your face and going off on you even though you don't even work there. I never really consider that there are some people who break down completely in conversation because they have really bad anxiety. They can't even reply to somebody who is asking them a question. Some people are extroverts, some people are introverts, and some people have issues where they can't even communicate if they're approached aggressively. I've seen it a couple times in some of these stories. But thank God your husband was there. He sounds like a great guy. Our next story wasn't directly... Somebody posted the question to this subreddit asking what was the most helpful thing you either saw or did for somebody in a store when you didn't work there and they approached you. So there were 2 good replies that I wanted to share because I know some of you love the more positive ones and sometimes it's hard to find them, so here we go. One of the comments by Frigoffla. I do this quite frequently. I'm at Costco every day due to my job. I have paper on a clipboard, so people always think I work there. I generally say that I don't work there, but I'll tell them where they can find it in the store if I know. I had an elderly gentleman smile at me and put his hands out to stop me. I was about to tell him I don't work there when he said, still smiling, "You look like you shop here a lot. Maybe you can help me find salad toppings." Was the best experience with this scenario I've ever had. And underneath that by Odd Artist 2595. I was in the produce section of Kroger when a woman showed me a bundle of spring onions and asked if they were leeks. She'd been given a recipe to make for some party that called for leeks. She'd never eaten or prepared them, had no idea what they even looked like. I found the leeks for her and explained how to clean them and get the grit out, and what part of them to slice versus discard, and what they kind of tasted like. She was most appreciative. Not entirely sure why she chose me to ask, but my guess is that she saw the artichoke I was buying in my basket. Not the first time it's happened. People see me with an artichoke and seem to think that if I know what to do with that, I must be some kind of vegetable expert. I'm not, but I know what a leek is. Glad I could help. I've never really eaten a leek before because I guess they are kind of in the family of onions. Just like the spring onions, they have a similar flavor. But this led to me doing a tiny bit of research that taught me the difference between leeks and chives and spring onions, and I believe they're called garlic spring onions or they're garlic green onions. So they all have different shapes and sizes, but they're all generally like oniony flavors. And it also made me think of this addicting little flash game called Leek Factory Tycoon that I play on occasion. And no, I'm not trying to advertise or anything. It's a free-to-play thing that I just spent a lot of time playing for a bit. I haven't played it in a while yet, but it is a fun little game. Our next story is by Fall Valhalla. Not just once, but 3 times. When I worked both security and my last job in a warehouse, I would stop by an Aldi on the way home. First time, a lady approached me and asked where something was, and I told her, "Over there, but I don't work here." I had a hoodie on because it was cold. Second time, a guy literally followed me around Aldi just to ask where something was. When he got close, he realized I don't work there, apologized, and left. I was in regular street clothes. Third time, some guy kept yelling, "Miss! Miss! Hello!" And I noticed a lady looked towards me, so I turned around. Guy came running up to ask me about a particular product he was holding. I told him I didn't work there, so I don't know. He tried to convince me I did work there because of my shirt. It was just a dark blue, very close to black blue. It was a uniform shirt, and I pointed out the color difference. He still didn't believe me. One of the really nice workers had noticed and come up to figure out what was going on. It took her a few minutes to convince him I didn't work there. I even pointed out the logo on my shirt was for the job I usually work at, not Aldi. I finally just left the worker with the guy and went to stand in line. There are certain people in the world, and OP, you sound like you might be one of them, that look very official. They look very approachable and they look like they work somewhere, and that's why you're getting accosted at Aldi's 3 times. But also, in my experience, and maybe it's different because you say that these people at this Aldi's wear dark blue uniforms. The Aldis that I went to near my hometown when I was growing up, they all dressed casually. They didn't have a uniform. So still, that doesn't explain why these people came up to you and wouldn't listen to you when you said you didn't work there. There's a surprising amount of people in the world that just think that workers don't want to help them and will lie to get out of helping them at work. And I can't imagine living in a world where you have that kind of paranoia. Like everybody is out lying to you, trying to get you, and trying to not help you. It's just not how the world actually is. Our stories for today have come to a close. Until we meet again, have an unhindered day.